All right, so are you ready to go on a deep dive that's a little bit different? We're not looking at some research paper or a news article today.
Okay.
We're actually going to explore a YouTube video
All right.
with a very interesting title.
Oh, wow.
Earth is a game board. Earth is hell. You can escape.mp3.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack some pretty unconventional ideas today. And don't worry,
Okay.
expert speaker is here to help us make sense of it all.
I'm happy to try.
So this YouTuber starts right off with a pretty bold claim.
Yeah.
Earth is hell.
Uh-huh.
But he's not talking about like fire and brimstone or anything.
Right.
He's saying Earth is more like this training ground
Yeah.
where we as souls keep coming back to learn and evolve
Okay.
at
Interesting.
multiple lifetimes.
I see.
He even uses this video game analogy,
Oh.
specifically StarCraft.
Oh,
He says like the different races in the game represent different levels of spiritual evolution,
uh-huh.
with humans kind of being somewhere in the middle.
Oh, so we're not at the top?
Not quite yet.
Got it.
But it gets even more interesting because he gives some pretty specific examples
Oh, really?
of what he considers the hellish parts of Earth.
Mm.
And it's not what you might think.
Okay.
It's not about natural disasters or like war and violence.
Yeah, what is it then?
He points to these overcrowded, polluted megacities, like New Delhi, Dar es Salaam, and Guatemala City.
Oh, wow.
Places where, poverty,
Yeah.
environmental degradation, and just the sheer density of people
Uh-huh.
create these immense challenges.
I see.
And his point is that these external conditions actually reflect an internal state of hell
Okay.
that we all experience.
So the outer reflects the inner?
Yeah, to some degree.
That's
He
fascinating.
defines this state as being characterized by a sense of separateness,
Uh-huh.
addiction to instant gratification,
Okay.
and a lack of awareness of our true nature.
I see.
So it's like we're trapped in this cycle coming back to this hellish Earth lifetime after lifetime.
Yeah.
So what's the way out? Like, is there any hope?
He does offer some hope.
Okay.
He believes that the goal is to break free from this cycle of reincarnation by achieving a higher level of consciousness.
Okay.
He talks about living virtuously, seeking knowledge, and connecting with a universal consciousness he calls God.
Okay, now hold on.
Yeah.
He calls it God, but he's actually defining it as the universe itself.
Right. It's more like a pantheistic view.
Pantheism.
Where God is present in everything.
So the divine is like inseparable from the natural world.
Exactly.
So it's not about escaping to some heavenly paradise after we die.
No, not exactly.
He actually criticizes both religious fundamentalism
Oh,
and hardcore atheism,
really?
arguing that they're both traps that keep us from seeing the bigger picture.
That's interesting.
He even calls them cults, which is pretty strong language.
It is strong.
What do you think is behind that?
Well, it seems to stem from his emphasis on personal experience and direct knowing.
So he's wary of any belief system
Right.
that requires blind faith.
Or adherence to dogma without questioning.
Yeah, so he seems to be advocating for a more individualistic approach to spirituality.
I think that's a fair assessment.
So figure things out for yourself, basically.
Right. Don't just blindly accept what others tell you.
Okay, and this is where things get really trippy.
Okay.
He brings up quantum physics
Oh, wow.
to support his claims,
Okay.
saying physical reality is actually an illusion
An illusion.
and that consciousness is the fundamental reality.
So consciousness creates reality.
He even cites the observer effect
Yeah.
in quantum mechanics,
Right.
suggesting that our very act of observing reality
Uh-huh.
influences what we see.
It's a common idea in some spiritual circles.
But is he misusing science to fit his narrative, or is he onto something?
That's a good question.
What do you think, listener? Is there more to reality than what we can see and touch?
It's certainly a question worth pondering.
He seems particularly concerned with this idea of separateness
Right.
as like a key part of this earthly hell.
Yeah, he sees our sense of being separate individuals, disconnected from each other and from the universe,
Yeah.
as the root of a lot of suffering.
And then he throws in this idea of advanced beings
Okay.
who have evolved beyond our level of consciousness
Interesting.
and might even be visiting Earth as teachers.
It's like that concept you see in a lot of New Age
Right.
and UFO communities.
That we're not alone in the universe.
And there are these beings out there who've kind of figured things out.
He connects this to his idea of the soul.
Yeah.
arguing that it evolves over multiple lifetimes and that these advanced beings are further along
Okay.
on this journey of cosmic evolution,
I see.
but that we all have the potential,
You can get there too?
yeah, to reach that level eventually.
That's hopeful.
He even speculates about the fate of what he calls bad souls,
Oh,
suggesting they might be like recycled
they'll recycle.
or eaten if they fail to evolve.
Oh, wow. That's a little dark.
It's a bit of a dark twist.
Yeah,
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
Earth as a cosmic training ground.
Yeah.
Souls evolving through multiple lifetimes.
Uh-huh.
The illusion of physical reality.
Right.
Advanced beings potentially watching us.
Okay.
And this idea that we can break free from this cycle of suffering.
It's a lot to take in.
What a whirlwind.
It is.
So stay tuned as we delve deeper into his escape plan.
Okay.
We're going to explore his thoughts on the limitations of both religious fundamentalism
Uh-huh.
and atheistic materialism,
Right.
and what he suggests we do to achieve true spiritual liberation.
Looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fascinating journey.
It is.
But before we move on, I want to hear from you, listener.
Yeah.
What are your initial reactions to this YouTuber's ideas?
Mm.
Are you intrigued,
Yeah.
skeptical, or somewhere in between?
It's good to think about.
Let us know, because we're diving deep together.
We are.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll all learn a little something along the way. Even if it's just to appreciate the vastness and mystery
Yeah.
of the universe we inhabit.
Absolutely. So welcome back to our deep dive into this YouTuber's pretty unusual worldview.
Yeah, we've already explored some pretty mind-bending ideas.
Right. From Earth as a spiritual boot camp
Uh-huh.
to the concept of souls evolving
Yeah.
through multiple lifetimes.
But now I want to kind of dig into something that really caught my attention.
Okay.
His rejection of both religious fundamentalism and atheistic materialism.
Yeah, he doesn't mince words, does he?
No,
Calling them both cults.
it's a pretty strong statement.
It is a strong statement.
So what's driving this double rejection?
Hmm.
Is he just trying to find some middle ground, or is it something else entirely?
Well, I think it goes back to his emphasis on personal experience and direct knowing.
Yeah.
You know, he seems to be wary of any belief system that demands blind faith or adherence to dogma without questioning.
He's especially critical of religious fundamentalism,
Oh, really?
arguing that it often relies on fear and the threat of punishment to control people.
That's a pretty harsh critique.
Yeah, and he even suggests that this traditional idea of escaping to heaven
Yeah.
might actually be another form of hell,
Wow. Okay.
a place where we become complacent and stop growing.
That's an interesting take.
It is.
He's basically saying that true spiritual growth
Uh-huh.
requires embracing the challenges of this life
Yeah.
rather than trying to escape them.
But he's not exactly a fan of atheism either.
No, not really.
He's equally critical of what he calls hardcore materialism, which he sees as a denial of the spiritual dimension of reality.
Interesting.
He argues that it reduces human beings
Yeah.
to just biological machines,
Okay.
driven solely by instinct and self-preservation.
So there's no higher purpose.
Not in that view.
He finds that pretty bleak, I imagine.
He suggests it leads to a sense of meaninglessness and disconnection.
Right.
And it's so fascinating how he brings quantum physics into this, arguing that it actually disproves materialism.
Okay, how so?
He points to the observer effect.
Yeah.
This idea that the act of observation can actually influence the outcome
Right.
of quantum experiments.
And he interprets this as evidence that consciousness is fundamental
Yeah.
and that it actually plays a role
Wow.
in shaping reality.
It's a bold claim,
It is a bold claim.
and one that's definitely open to interpretation.
I mean, it's true that quantum mechanics challenges our classical understanding of physics,
Right.
but I'm not sure it necessarily proves that consciousness creates reality.
It's a bit of a leap.
It is a leap.
But I think his point is that there might be more to reality
Yeah.
than what we can perceive with our senses.
He seems to be advocating for a more expansive view of the universe,
Okay.
one that acknowledges the mystery and the unknown.
So he's rejecting both religious dogma and materialistic reductionism.
Right.
But what does he offer in their place?
Well, he doesn't lay out a specific belief system or a set of doctrines.
Well, no, like 10 commandments or anything.
Oh, not really.
Yeah.
Instead, he seems to be advocating for a more experiential and intuitive approach to spirituality.
So it's not about adhering to a rigid set of rules,
Right.
but more about cultivating a direct connection with something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. He encourages us to trust our own inner wisdom,
Okay.
to explore different spiritual practices, and to find what resonates with us personally.
So he's not a guru or a prophet,
No.
but more of a guide encouraging us to embark on our own journeys
Yeah.
of self-discovery.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
He's offering us a different lens
Right.
through which to view the world, one that challenges conventional thinking
Okay.
and invites us to explore the
Yeah.
mysteries of consciousness.
All right. So we've talked about his rejection of both extremes.
Right.
But let's dig a little deeper into this idea of the illusion of physicality.
Okay.
It's a concept that comes up repeatedly in his video.
It's a big one.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it's definitely one of the more challenging ideas
Yeah.
to grasp.
He seems to be suggesting that the physical world, as we perceive it,
Yeah.
isn't the whole story.
He uses the analogy of a video game,
Okay.
arguing that we might be living in a simulated reality.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Does he actually believe we're all living in the Matrix?
I don't think he's being literal.
Yeah.
He's using the analogy
Right.
to illustrate the idea that our perception of reality is limited and that there might be other levels of existence
Okay.
beyond what we can currently comprehend.
So he's not saying that the physical world doesn't exist,
Right.
but rather that it's not as solid and objective
Yeah.
as we tend to believe.
Exactly. He suggests that our senses are limited
Uh-huh.
and that our perception is shaped by our beliefs,
Okay.
expectations, and even our thoughts.
He keeps saying everything is energy,
Right.
and that we're all interconnected at a deeper level.
He's drawing on a long tradition of mystical and philosophical thought
Yeah.
that emphasizes the underlying unity of all things.
So beneath the surface appearance of separateness,
Uh-huh.
there's this deeper reality
Right.
that connects us all.
It's a concept that's been explored by various spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
And even some physicists are starting to consider
Oh, wow.
the possibility that the universe might be more interconnected
Okay.
than we previously imagined.
So it's not that the physical world is an illusion,
Right.
but rather that it's only one layer of reality.
And that there might be other layers, other dimensions
Yeah.
that we're not yet able to perceive.
It's a mind-blowing concept to wrap my head around.
It is.
It has profound implications.
It does.
For how we understand ourselves,
Yeah.
our place in the universe,
Right.
and our relationship to the divine.
Absolutely.
This is definitely a lot to process, listener.
It is.
What are your thoughts on this idea of the illusion of physicality? Does it resonate with you, or does it seem like a stretch?
Yeah.
Share your reactions, because we're in this deep dive together.
We are.
And in the next part, we'll explore his escape plan.
Okay.
Specifically, what actions he suggests we take
Right.
to break free from this perceived illusion
Yeah.
and achieve true spiritual liberation. All right, so welcome back to the final part of our exploration
Okay.
into this YouTuber's very thought-provoking perspective.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground
We have.
from his unique view of Earth
Yeah.
as a kind of hell to his critique of both religious dogma and strict materialism.
And let's not forget that mind-bending concept of
Yeah.
physical reality being an illusion.
It's been a wild ride.
It really has.
But now we're at the part I'm
Yeah.
most curious about,
Okay.
his proposed escape plan.
He's painted this vivid picture of the problem as he sees it.
Right.
But what does he suggest we actually do
Yeah.
to break free from this cycle of suffering
Right.
and achieve spiritual liberation?
Well, he doesn't offer a step-by-step guide,
Okay.
but he does provide some clues.
Right.
Remember, his whole argument
Uh-huh.
rests on the idea that we're stuck
Yeah.
in this cycle of reincarnation.
Returning to Earth lifetime after lifetime.
Exactly. And the goal is to evolve our souls
Okay.
to a point where we can finally escape this cycle
Yeah.
and merge with the universal consciousness.
And the key to that, he suggests,
Yeah.
is to break free from the limitations of our current level of consciousness.
Which he describes as being characterized by separateness,
Uh-huh.
a constant craving for gratification,
Right.
and a lack of awareness of our true nature.
So the first step, he argues, is to cultivate greater awareness.
Okay, so become more mindful
Yeah.
of our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So instead of just drifting through life on autopilot,
Right.
we need to really tune in
Yeah.
to what's happening both internally and externally.
He suggests practices like meditation and mindfulness
Okay.
to help us become more present and aware.
Of the present moment.
Exactly.
He also talks about spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah.
Disconnecting from the constant barrage of technology
Right.
and just allowing ourselves to be still.
He sees these practices as helping us to reconnect with our true nature,
Okay.
which he believes is inherently peaceful, joyful, and connected to the universe.
It sounds like it's about quieting the noise of the external world
Yeah.
and tuning into the wisdom within.
Exactly. He believes that each of us possesses an inner compass that can guide us towards our highest potential,
Okay.
but that we often drown out its voice with
Yeah.
distractions and external stimuli.
Okay, so step one is about becoming more aware.
Right.
What's next on his list?
He places a strong emphasis on living virtuously,
Okay.
emphasizing qualities like compassion,
Yeah.
kindness, forgiveness, and selflessness.
So basically being a good person.
Yeah,
That seems pretty straightforward.
it is in theory.
But as we all know, putting it into practice
Right.
in our daily lives can be a lot more challenging.
Especially in a world.
Yeah. That often seems to reward self-interest and competition.
He seems to believe that cultivating these virtues
Yeah.
is essential not just for ethical reasons,
Uh-huh.
but also for spiritual growth.
He even suggests that our actions have consequences
Okay.
that ripple beyond this lifetime.
Echoing the concept of karma.
Exactly.
He's not advocating for a fatalistic view, though.
No.
He believes we have the power to change our destiny through
Right.
our present choices and actions. So it's a blend of free will
Yeah.
and recognizing the impact of our past choices.
Both in this life and potentially in previous ones.
And he suggests that by making conscious choices to act with integrity and kindness,
Right.
we're not only creating a better world,
Yeah.
but also elevating our own consciousness
Right.
and moving closer to liberation.
Okay. Okay. So awareness and virtue are key.
Okay.
What else does he emphasize?
He's a big advocate for seeking knowledge,
Okay.
encouraging us to question our assumptions,
Uh-huh.
explore diverse perspectives, and strive to understand the true nature of reality.
He definitely doesn't seem to be a fan of blind faith.
Not at all.
He criticizes dogma in all its forms,
Right.
both religious and scientific.
Encouraging independent thinking and an open mind.
So it's not enough to just be a good person.
Right.
We also need to be informed, curious, and willing to challenge our own beliefs.
He sees knowledge as fuel for spiritual growth,
Okay.
suggesting we study various spiritual traditions,
Yeah.
delve into philosophy,
Yeah.
and even explore scientific discoveries,
Oh,
always seeking to expand our understanding of ourselves and the universe.
It's about becoming a lifelong learner, constantly seeking new insights
Yeah.
and perspectives.
He believes that the pursuit of knowledge is not just an intellectual pursuit,
Okay.
but a spiritual practice that connects us to the underlying intelligence of the cosmos.
Okay, we've got awareness, virtue, and knowledge
Yeah.
as cornerstones of his escape plan.
Right.
Is there anything else?
Yes, he stresses the vital importance of connection
Connection to what exactly?
to a higher power,
Okay.
to what he calls God, but defines as the universe itself,
Right.
the source of all creation.
So about cultivating a sense of oneness and interconnectedness
Yeah.
with all of existence.
Recognizing that we're not separate, isolated beings, but part of a vast web of life.
Exactly. He sees this connection as the key to transcending our limitations
Yeah.
and realizing our true nature.
He uses the analogy of plugging into a power source,
Okay.
suggesting that connecting with the divine
Yeah.
gives us access to an infinite wellspring of energy, love, and wisdom.
He believes that we are inherently part of this divine source,
Right.
but that we often forget our true nature
Yeah.
and get lost in the illusion of separation.
So the goal is to remember who we truly are
Ah.
and to consciously reconnect with this source.
He suggests we can do this through practices like prayer,
Okay.
meditation, spending time in nature, and engaging in selfless service to others.
So it's not just about personal enlightenment,
Right.
but also about contributing to the well-being of others
Yeah,
and recognizing our interconnectedness.
exactly. He sees compassion and service
Yeah.
as integral parts of spiritual evolution.
This is all starting to make sense.
It is.
But it also sounds like a lot of work.
It does.
Where do we even begin
Yeah.
to put all of this into practice?
He encourages us to find practices that resonate with us personally,
Okay.
whether it's meditation, yoga, spending time in nature, creative expression, or simply acts of kindness and compassion. So it's about finding what works for us
Right.
and committing to a path of personal growth
Yeah,
and spiritual exploration.
exactly. He holds there's no one-size-fits-all approach to spirituality,
Okay.
but that sincerity, open-mindedness, and a willingness to learn are essential.
And to trust the process even when it gets challenging.
Absolutely. He acknowledges that the path to spiritual liberation is not always easy, but he believes it's ultimately the most fulfilling journey
Yeah.
we can undertake.
You know, even if we don't fully buy into this idea
Yeah.
of Earth as a literal hell,
Right.
there's still a lot of wisdom in his message.
I agree. He offers a vision
Yeah.
of a more conscious, compassionate, and interconnected way of being
Yeah.
in the world.
And even if we don't achieve complete enlightenment in this lifetime,
Right.
we can still make progress
Absolutely.
and create a more meaningful life
Yeah,
for ourselves and others.
that's a great point.
So maybe instead of focusing on escaping Earth,
Mm,
we should focus on escaping the limitations of our own minds and hearts.
beautifully said.
Perhaps that's the true path to liberation.
Maybe it is.
Well, listener, we've journeyed through this YouTuber's unique perspective,
Yeah.
exploring his ideas about Earth consciousness and the path to spiritual freedom.
It's been a thought-provoking deep dive
Okay.
into a truly unconventional worldview.
We hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity, challenged your assumptions,
Uh-huh.
and perhaps even inspired you
Yeah.
to explore your own beliefs about life, the universe, and everything.
Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
It does.
So be open to new ideas, embrace the unknown, and trust the unfolding of your own unique path.
And who knows?
Right.
Maybe along the way, we can all help make this world a little less hellish
Yeah.
and a little more like the paradise we all long for.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.